Good afternoon. My name is Matt Kuhn. I'm co-founder and CEO of Taurus Vascular, where our mission is to reimagine endovascular aneurysm repair. And I want to start with a just quick clinical background. An abdominal aortic aneurysm, or AAA, is a disease in which a portion of the aorta grows like a balloon. And if left untreated, that balloon can continue to grow until it pops or ruptures. And a ruptured aorta is a highly lethal complication that less than 20% of patients survive. When an aneurysm needs treatment, the current standard of care is a procedure called EVAR, or endovascular aneurysm repair. And in this procedure, the aortic blood flow is rerouted through a bifurcated stent graft, or endograft, which is delivered across an aneurysm to reroute the arterial blood flow through a reinforced conduit to relieve pressure on the aneurysmal vessel walls. The problem is that EVAR does nothing to address these small collateral blood vessels that are attached to the aneurysm sac that can continue to feed into the aneurysm, leading to a buildup of pressure and continued growth, even ruptured. And this is a problem that has existed for the past 30 years and has remained unsolved. And as a result, the long-term outcomes for EVAR really aren't that great. It's a good initial acute solution, but over the first 5 years, nearly a fifth of all patients require reintervention. 60% of aneurysms fail to shrink after treatment, and about 45% of patients are found to have an endoleak. And we're at a really interesting inflection point with how we think about how to treat these patients with AAAs. It used to be that the mitigation of further growth was considered a treatment success. But as we've learned more over the past couple years and we've collected more data, what we're finding is that patients with shrinking aneurysms have been associated with much better long-term outcomes. So shrinking aneurysms is now a predictor of success. And a couple of years ago, we had an interesting observation that patients with an aortocaval fistula, which is a hole between the aneurysm sac and the IVC, which is the largest vein in the body, these patients were found to have significantly accelerated better aneurysm shrinkage. And to put this into context, patients with a fistula have shown 30 millimeters of reduction in the first 12 months. This is like seeing someone run a 2-minute mile. If you see shrinkage at all, you'd expect to see 2-3 millimeters in the first year. To see 30, it's a big deal. So our hypothesis was that if Mother Nature could do this by accident, what if we had a device to do this on purpose and do it repeatably and controllably and safely? And that inspired us to develop the outflow system. So our technology is a self-deploying transcaval shunt. This self-deploying stent creates a drainage pathway, or a pressure relief venting pathway, between the aneurysm sac and the vena cava. And we intend for this to be used as an adjunct to EVAR, so not a standalone therapy, something to improve the performance of the current standard of care. Over time, you should see aneurysm shrinkage, and our shunt's been designed to accommodate dynamic changes in the aneurysm over time. We've designed it to be compatible with any commercially available EVAR system that's used today. And there's ample reimbursement for multiple use cases for our technology. So as a standalone reintervention, or as an adjunct to the indexed EVAR procedure, there's pretty substantial reimbursement. We're toying around with the idea of expanding the indication into heart failure. So something like an Alleviant or a V-Wave, maybe there's an opportunity for us there. There is substantial market opportunity. So there is about 250,000 worldwide opportunities, either through patients undergoing an EVAR procedure or a reintervention. We found the sweet spot for our pricing to be around $7,000, $7,500. So that represents a $1.9 billion annual market opportunity, and there's substantial room for that to grow. I'm joined by an incredible team of innovators and entrepreneurs, clinicians, executives, and engineers. And company's been in existence since last spring. Since then, we've raised $1.7 million, have been busy with accelerators, pitch competitions, and preclinical testing. We've filed 5 patent applications to date, 3 of which have already been granted. And we've been busy with our preclinical testing to show early signs of safety, feasibility, and efficacy. Just completed a 5-specimen large animal, chronic animal study. So took adult female pigs performed a procedure to create a pseudoaneurysm and survived these pigs for 30 days, compared the intrasac pressure with and without the outflow system. So really interesting observation. The baseline circulatory pressure for a pig is about 100 millimeters of mercury. When you create an endograft bypass for the arterial blood, the residual pressure in the sac is about 52 millimeters of mercury. So at best, EVAR just cuts the pressure in the sac by half. When we deploy our outflow system, that pressure drops to 7, so it equilibrates with the central venous pressure, essentially eliminating the residual pressure in the sac. So we're taking these results forward with a first-in-human study scheduled for either the end of this year or early next year. And we've kicked off our Series A, so we're hoping to raise about $8 million. Have gotten a commitment for about $1 million of that so far. And I'm way ahead of schedule, but if there's any interest in learning more about the company, the team, the financing opportunity, would love to talk to anyone. Thank you.